The prospect of being the best person in the entire world in your favorite sport seems like a far-fetched pipe dream for most of us. But for the 800 watercross competitors converging on Lake Havasu for the Scat Track World Championships, that dream is all they live for.
For me, it is just, the biggest race of my life, especially coming from another country. It's the best of the world are going to be here. The people with the fastest boats are going to be out there, and all around, it's just a great event.
It's what you always dream of, ever since I started racing skis, 6 years ago, world finals to be world champion is, you can't beat it. There is nothing else better than the world finals.
It's just a really exciting event that I probably couldn't live without.
Who is the best on the planet? Stay with us to find out as the nations of the world collide on Lake Havasu at the Scat Track Watercross World Championships.
It's an American tradition that is now 2 decades running, and it's bigger and better than ever. Over 800 competitors from 34 different countries are racing in 36 different classes. Welcome to Lake Havasu City, Arizona for the 8th and final day of the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships here on the beautiful Colorado River. Hello, David Stanfield along with Rick Lake, and one thing we can say about Lake Havasu City and the World Championships is expect the unexpected.
And that is because the one word synonymous with the World Championships is pressure. Unlike a long series, the National Championship and 8-race tour, this event comes down to 1 day of racing, 2 motos, combined points for a world title.
Let's talk about our hero, the man that has done it all, and he's back again, Jeff Jacobs, the defending world champion in proski.
There's no question that Lake Havasu is Jeff Jacobs' house. Jacobs comes into the event with 9 world championships under his belt.
Jacobs knows to win a world championship, you have to do well in 2 motos. Let's look back at moto number 1. And one thing we learned, Jeff Jacobs was on his game.
No question about it, Jacobs looked really good in Moto 1. Right here, a leg drag, very unusual for Jacobs. Very, very smooth style, but by no means did Jacobs dominate in Moto 1.
Equally as intense was Dustin John Matsurs, the 20-year-old out of South Africa, aboard the Kawasaki SXI Pro. He was charging.
Matsurs on the gas, on the cow. He gets around Jacobs into second place, but it was a young upstart out of Belgium, Renaud Urbain, on the Yamaha Superjet that took the early lead.
Urbain led 9 laps, but problems over the log jump took him out. And Matsurs went into the lead, and even that lead was short-lived.
When I went over the log jump, I scooped a piece of the rubber up through the scoop grate, and it got stuck in the prop. And it wouldn't spin out, and I just kept a pin trying to burn the piece of rubber out, and I was swinging the boat around. Eventually, luckily for me, it dislodged and spat out the back, but that could have cost me the whole race right there.
Where was our U.S. national champion, Chris McCluggage? Well, he crashed in the first turn, then went ballistic through the pack and worked his way back up to 5th position.
McCluggage, suffering from allergies today, leaves the responsibility to his teammate, Matsouras.
On lap 14, Matsouras passes Jacobs and takes Moto 1 win. Momentum, Kawasaki. Final results of Moto 1, Matsouras, Jacobs, Sheldon, Rios, and McCluggage. We are seconds away from our pro ski main event, the second and final deciding moto. Let's take a look at the closed course layout.
This year's World Championship race course quite a bit different than years past in that there is no long back straightaway. There is a split section. The racers have an option of taking the inside or the outside split. 2 log jumps on the right-hand side will give the ski racers fits.
Absent on the line, here's the news. Chris McCluggage is pulled out. He is not going after the pro ski title. We're set to go, and if you've got a need for speed, take a look at this start.
Look at that whole shot by Dustin Matsouras on the Kawasaki. Matsouras with a great start. Jacobs right behind him in second.
Solid speeds up to 55, maybe 60 miles per hour. Now, the field splits into 2 different courses. That outside course carries plenty of speed.
No question, Matsouras with a great jump on the inside, but it's Nicolas Rios, the great French champion, on the outside course. Look at that style by Rios down the front straightaway behind Matsouras.
And remember, on this first lap, they do not negotiate the log jumps, which caused a lot of problems for Dustin Matsouras in that first moto.
Matsouras right now on his Kawasaki, out in front with clean water, really trying to take advantage of the course conditions early on, trying to pull out a lead over Rios. Rios charging on that Rios Racing Yamaha Superjet in second.
Rios out of France, but now lives here in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and his one goal all year long is defend or win the World Championship titles.
Can you imagine what's going on right now in Matsura's mind? He is out in front of Moto number 2. He's already won Moto number 1, chasing down his dream of winning his first pro world title.
A lot of pressure on this young 20-year-old out of South Africa. Remember, Rios is hounding him. Jacobs is looking good. His teammate, Chris McCluggage, is pulled out of the pro ski class this moto. He's saving himself for the pro runabout class because he's feeling ill. But Matsura's got the most incredible hole shot.
We've seen it all season long in the National Tour. Team Kawasaki, both McCluggage and Matsura able to pull hole shots race after race. No different here at the World Championships. We can see right here Matsura with a great jump out of the line. He looks over at Jacobs. Jacobs on the inside, and Mats with another hole shot.
Today is like the Super Bowl. One day, 2 motos and a World Championship title on the line, and it's not an easy task.
It's just with it being a one-shot deal makes it tough. With the National Tour, if you make a mistake one weekend, you have the opportunity to bring back and make points up later on in the series. Where here, you cannot make a mistake. We get that, down to Sunday, we have two motos, and definitely don't want to make any mistakes out there.
Well, on the National Tour, he had 2 wins, a 4th overall, but today, the biggest day ever. He's out in front. Rios is currently running 2nd, and Jeff Jacobs in 3rd.
The defending world champion had a 2nd place finish in Moto number 1, and he's keeping himself in very good position right here, 4th overall again. He's keeping the pressure on. Here comes Urbain, the young Belgian, the 18-year-old, who's looked so good, and Urbain takes a shot over that log jump. Very difficult riding conditions right now on the race course. And 77, Steven Daliac, the great French rider who really emerged this year on the National Tour, is riding a very good race today.
Daliac looking strong, currently running in 5th. Our top 4 is Matsura, Rios, Jacobs, and Urbain. The 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championship from Lake Havasu City, Arizona continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships. Earlier today, the women took to the water in the Pro-Am women's ski class with local Lake Havasu resident Tara Lejo on a mission to regain the title of Pro-Am women's ski world champion. Last year, fellow Lake Havasu local Aaliyah Jones rocked the lake with a stunning upset for the world title.
Well, it meant a lot, and basically it meant so much to me because Tara is so fast. She is a wonderful person, and she's been competing for years and years and years. And my first race with her, actually, she lapped me. And I just thought, wow, I want to be that fast, So for me to come from her lapping me a couple years before to actually winning, I didn't necessarily enjoy winning and beating Tara, but to win and come through for all these years was one of the best things I've ever done.
This year, Aaliyah returned with a Kawasaki factory-backed SXI Pro Ski to give Tara and her Yamaha Superjet a serious run for the title. Moto 1 was a thriller, with both Tara and Aaliyah ailing from less than ideal starts. Havasu's Nikki Goudreau nailed a hole shot. Tara systematically dissected the field, finally taking the lead on lap 5 and the win. Aaliyah sliced her way to 2nd. She would have to win Moto 2 to defend her title. But Moto 2 was all Lejo, with a perfect wire-to-wire race, sealing the Terrorizer 7th World Championship title.
Yeah, my Yamaha was flying. And what can I say? I put a really good package together. My mechanics, all my family, all my sponsors, Factory Pipe, Scat Track, R&D had a lot to do with my handling package this season. I can't thank Bill Chapin enough, and everybody that's gone out of their way to see me have the best shot at this World Championship as I could. And, I'm ecstatic, That's what I worked really, really hard for.
Tara's father holds up the sign and it says it all. Fastest chick in the world. 7-time national, 7-time world champion Tara Lejo. Back to racing action. Pro Moto number 2. Pro ski action with Nicholas Rios out in front.
Nicholas took over the lead from Dustin Matsouras and has never looked back. He's doing a great job out in front. Jeff Jacobs in 2nd place, however, and Jacobs right now with the 2nd place for Moto number 1 will give him the world title if things stay as they are.
For Nicholas Rios, right now you can hear the whistle, the white flag's coming out, 1 lap to go. He's not looking back. He's thinking he can win this and possibly the World Championship. For Jeff Jacobs, there's no pit boards along the side. He's had to do the math in his head. He knows if he can maintain this position in 2nd, he can win the overall world title. Jeff Jacobs knows all about the pressure of racing. He's been there and done that.
Oh yeah, this event is where all the pressure is. The Nationals, there's a lot of pressure come Sunday morning when you got to get out there and race, but you know, for an entire year, an entire world championship to come down to one event for a Saturday and Sunday, that can exhaust somebody mentally more than anything. And it's up to the rider to be mentally and physically prepared. But I think that's why I do so well out here. It's just such a mental game, and I love it. I love the mental aspects of this sport.
Jeff Jacobs must be loving this day right now, because in his head he knows he is the world champion if he can maintain a second position. Meanwhile, out front, it's Nicholas Rios.
Rios with a great ride here in Moto number 2. A 4th place finish in Moto number 1. The combined score will give him a 2nd overall for the day in pro ski. A great way to end the season for Nicholas with this win against the best competition in the world. Great job for Nicholas Rios. But for Jeff Jacobs, a 2nd place finish in Moto number 2, a 2nd place finish in Moto 1. Overall, a world championship for Jacobs. In the history of the world championships, there's been 20 of them. There's been 20 world titles in pro ski. Jacobs has won 10 of them.
For Nicholas Rios, a 4th in the first moto, and a Moto 2 battle, 1st place finish, nets him 2nd overall. But the World Championship award goes to Jeff Jacobs out of San Diego, California. We'll be right back to speak with him. Stay with us. Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships presented by Kawasaki and Yamaha here at Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Pro Ski Moto number 2 was won by Nicholas Rios, charging hard on his Rios Racing Yamaha Superjet. For Dustin Matsurs, he won the first moto and was leading the second moto, but during lap number 5, his intake was clogged by a piece of rubber from the log jump, and he ended up an 18th in Moto number 2. What a disappointment for Team Kawasaki, and a solid moto win for Nicholas Rios. Final result of that moto shows Rios, Jacobs, Daliak, Sheldon, and Windsor the top 5. Now let's go down to Rick Lake.
Nicholas, you came back in Moto 2 and rode a great race for the win.
Well, you know, I was a little disappointed about this morning. You know, my ski didn't start on the line, and so I was last, come up to 4th, and too bad. I mean, you know, and I just went this one, and you know, I need a win in my belt, and I did. Just want to thank all my sponsors, you know, Yamaha and Vance Factory Pipe, and you know, Slippery, Skate Track, all those guys, Carbon Tech. You know, I mean, without those guys, I could not be here, and just have to come back next year. And this year is first year where I came and don't win anything, so it's kind of a little weird feeling, so that's why I'm a little disappointed. But you know, they call me the fighter. I will come back strong. I'm going to try to win winter and, you know, make all my sponsors and all the pin proud again.
The fighter wins the battle in Moto number 2, but it is the jammer, a.k.a. Jackson Jeff Jacobs, 30 years old, out of San Diego, California, aboard the Reba Yamaha Superjet, winning the world title and winning one for America. He's standing by with our own Rick Lake.
Jeff, number 10, tell me about it.
I'll tell you what, I've never been so nervous or felt more pressure in my life than, you know, 10 minutes before that race. You know, I know I have the horsepower, I got the boat, my Yamaha was just excellent today on Sunday. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, 10, obviously this ain't my first rodeo, so I just want to come out here and be consistent, and that's what I was. 2 seconds, I'll take any day for an overall.
Yeah, you got up there at the start, you had a real good start, you were in 3rd place most of the race, then Matsurs dropped out, you moved to the 2nd behind Rios, so you look real comfortable in 2nd. I think you were playing it smart.
Yeah, well, you know, that's my forte. That's what I always penalize myself as. Sometimes I ride too smart and not aggressive enough, but Matsurs dropped out. Rios was in front of me. Rios was setting an awesome pace. You know, both of our Yamahas were flying out there, and that's all it took, man. Rough water, these things were excelling, and I just want to thank everybody who stood behind me.
Yesterday we talked about your first championship many years ago. How's number 10 feel?
It's awesome. These things get so much sweeter because the older I get, the more I appreciate these things, the more I appreciate the sponsors and the people behind me. Back then, I was just a skinny little kid trying to go out there and prove a point. Now, I'm not so much proving a point. I just want to go out there and do the best I can.
Congratulations, brilliant ride.
Thank you, sir. Hope to be here again next year, man. Woo!
Now in its 20th year, the Scat Track World Championships is much more than racing. This year, the Havasu Polka Run was brought back by popular demand. Backed by Personal Watercraft Illustrated magazine, Proformance Pit, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Sea-Doo, and Polaris. Former freestyle champion Lloyd Verlew was the man in charge. The idea of the polka run is to give both spectators and racers a chance to enjoy each other's company in a fun atmosphere while taking in the incredible sights of Lake Havasu. Former national and world champion Chris the Flying Fish Bichetti was spotted riding the new Octane stand-up ski from Polaris. Upon return to Rotary Beach, everyone had an opportunity to try out future offerings from the manufacturers. All participants that stopped at all checkpoints drew cards in hopes of a high hand. First prize was a new Sea-Doo watercraft. Juan Nara of Colombia drew a so-so high hand of 3 5s early on. Amazingly, it held for the win with some anxious moments in between.
Oh, nothing. That's a good one. Oh, I can't win. I can't win. Oh, boy. I had a pair of sixes. Oh, let's hope this is.
What's your name? Danielle.
That's it. Through the boat. That's all right. Oh, boy. I can't believe it. I can't believe this. It's impossible. I never win nothing in my life.
Another highly anticipated event is the Miss Factory Pipe 2001 swimsuit competition, with Factory Pipe putting up $1,000 in prizes. The ultimate air event is the Whamilton's.com ramp jump, with competitions for both freestyle and distance. The Scat Track World Championships is truly the center of the universe for personal watercraft. When we return, it's time for Pro Freestyle.
Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships. As we stated earlier, this is the place to expect the unexpected. Nowhere is this more true than in pro freestyle. Take Mark Sickerling, for example. Mark was an unknown quantity out of Germany that rocked the 1994 World Championships, prevailing over the established freestyle hierarchy of the day. Then in 1995, with mixed results of the U.S. National Tour, Mark returned to Havasu to successfully defend his world title. The international contingency has always been a huge unknown variable, and this year they were stronger than ever.
Mark Sickerling was perfectly aware that the freestyle routines that won him the world titles in the mid-90s wouldn't even put him on the podium today, as the performance level has risen significantly in the few years of his absence. But he had a plan.
You know, there is, I would say, old and new school freestyle. And Eric Malone and Alexander Lanzi, they are doing a great job doing all these new school tricks. And I prepared myself a nice routine with the best old school tricks combined with the new stuff. And I think that's what it's all about, you know, to do nice new jumps but still having some nice submarines in your routine. Because submarines are great tricks.
As solid as the international competitors were, the Americans were not intimidated.
Three-time defending world champion Eric Malone led the charge for the Americans. Filled with momentum from his third consecutive U.S. National Tour Championship, needless to say, he was the odds-on favorite to win today.
A minor mistake may relegate you from first to second. But losing your boat, however, is the kiss of death.
I hit my around the world trick in shallow water and didn't get it the whole way around and hit bottom and kind of ricocheted back, so I didn't quite catch the boat. Lost the boat for 15 to 20 seconds, but hey, it happens. You know, I've won 2 in a row. This would have been my 3rd and 4th overall world title, and you lose some, you win some, and it's probably better for the sport too to mix it up a bit.
Mixing it up is exactly what Alessandro Lenzi had in mind. The flamboyant Brazilian was the only competitor victorious over Malone during the U.S. National Tour this year, winning 2 of the 8 events. Here at the World Championships, opportunity now knocked on the door. Lenzi pulled the trigger on both barrels and blew it wide open. Combined with the well-seasoned, all precisely executed. The perfect formula for a new Brazilian pro freestyle world champion.
I feel the best day in my life, you know, and I wait all my life for this day. This is a very important day for me in my life, you know, and feel very good. The best day in my life.
Alessandro Lenzi tops an all-international podium. Congratulations to Alessandro and all of our international freestyle competitors.
Back in the Malone camp, you won't find any pity party. Actually, nailing a 3rd straight U.S. national championship can hardly be thought of as a poor season. For Malone, the plan is to press forward, straight ahead.
Oh, definitely. This gives me a lot of motivation, too, in the wintertime to kind of just reflect off what happened here and learn from my mistakes and just push harder in the gym and train more mentally and try and make my personal watercraft world a little more perfect.
To the average mortal, perfection may seem to be an unbelievably lofty goal. But for Eric Malone, it is the target set for every endeavor he enters into. Some say that the key to perfection is preparation and practice. Eric scores an A+ in both aspects. In fact, Eric's personal preparation for his 3 national and world titles began before he ever set foot on a ski.
For success in this sport, for me, I think that, you know, I wrestled for 8 years in junior high and high school, and that really put a really good, strong work ethic in my thought process throughout my life, and it's a one-on-one sport, just like freestyle is. When you're against other components, but your mind and body and your ski are together as one, and you're not really depending on anyone else to do the job. So that's a main factor too.
Being as one with a 300-pound watercraft while inverted 12 feet above the water requires more than just sheer muscle. Technique is really the key.
Definitely. I mean, when you're with a ski that heavy, you know, you can either fight it or you can you work with it. And I've learned to work with it. And I think this is true. I don't have hardly any calluses on my hands. So I think that if you fight the ski, you're always going to have calluses. If you learn how to work with the ski, you're not going to be forcing it, and it's going to be working with you. So definitely. The nice thing about freestyle is you're kind of in your own world a little bit, and you're kind of doing your own thing, and just your imagination's going. It's just you and the ski or whatever you're using at that point. So to me, it just feels great to be out there and try new things and invent something that you might be dreaming about the night before, or think about, or someone might mention to you. So it's a lot of fun, and when you learn a new move, it's just a great feeling just to be able to go out there and do it, knowing that that's your trick and no one knows about it, and you can go out and put it to work in the competitions.
Each routine lasts exactly 2 minutes. If you think about it, a pro freestyler's life is centered on 18 minutes a year, 16 during the 8 stops of the national tour, and 2 at the World Championships. Those precious few minutes a year can make or break a career.
I look at those 2 minutes as kind of, I try, I can't say I always do, but I try to look at those 2 minutes as if though I'm just going out and practicing. I don't try not to involve any more stress make any more of a big deal than what it really is. Because all it is a sport that we're all having fun with. So, you know, just I think the main thing is coming out with new tricks and always kind of staying that one step ahead and being in better shape, it seems like, cardio-wise. But, you know, I'm just running on cruise control with my style and my personality and just doing the best I possibly can. I think as long as I do that, I'll be satisfied.
The Pro Runabout 1200 Superstock coming up next as we continue with the 2001 Scat Track Watercraft World Championships. Welcome back to Lake Havasu City, Arizona on the Colorado River for the 20th annual Scat Track Watercross World Championships. David Stanf along with Rick Lake. And Rick, the featured class, what everybody's been waiting for, the fastest class on the water with the best riders, Pro Runabout.
Pro Runabout 1200, these boats are scary fast. Speeds over 80 miles an hour, high horsepower, extremely high G's in the corners. It's very hard to hold on to.
And guess what? An international field is here, and they are upsetting a lot of the local hotshots.
Yeah, Chris McCluggage comes into the event today. The national champion really dominated on the national championship tour this year, but he has got his hands full.
McCluggage had his hands full with Jimmy Bossio of Italy. Bossio, with a mediocre start, had an incredible come-from-behind victory in Moto #1.
Jimmy Bossio, the ex-motorcycle road race star on the Sea-Doo XP Limited, came from behind, passed the entire field, including race favorite Chris McCluggage, to take the win. He was on the gas and excited the entire crowd.
Jimmy Bossio, Alba, Italy, 9-time Italian national champion, looks over his shoulder and says, "Did I win? Am I #1? Yes, you are. In Moto #1, he passed everybody."
And Bossio not only surprised the entire field, it looks like he surprised himself. Race favorite and new national champion Chris McCluggage comes in second place, but the first moto was a disaster for the reigning world champion Nicholas Rios. An aftermarket carburetor linkage malfunction dropped him to 18th.
So our top three finishers in Moto #1, Bossio, McCluggage, and Matsouras, have their sights set on a world championship. Before we go racing, let's take a look at the closed course layout. It's slightly different than pro ski.
Unlike pro ski, the pro runabouts do not go over the log jump, so they are eliminated from the course on the right-hand side, creating a very, very tight section of the race course.
Chris McCluggage on the line, our national 1200 champion, feeling under the weather, is rested up for this fun, all-decisive moto, and they're off.
And look at that monster hole shot by Dustin Matsouras. He must have a lot of attitude after the problems he had in pro ski. He is charging out in front.
On the outside of the split, take a look at those two tangle. That's Kane Cahill on the inside, and he collides slightly with Chris McCluggage. He takes over the lead.
High-speed action. McCluggage and Cahill going after it, and Cahill on that Riva Yamaha GP 1200R rockets in the lead down the front straightaway.
Kawasaki team behind him. There's Minoru Kanamori, another Kawasaki rider. He's dead in the water.
Kanamori got T-boned really hard in the first turn. It looks like the boat's got a hole in it, and it's taken on water. Out in front, Cahill, the New Zealand rider. He looked good on the national tour. Did not get any wins, but right now he's out in front and looking really strong on his Yamaha.
Dustin Matsouras currently running in second spot. Matsouras, a heartbreak story in pro ski. He was third in Moto 1. Right now, he has a chance at a world title in the Pro Runabout 1200 class.
Matsouras on that Kawasaki 1100 STX DI in second place. If he can stay right where he's at, he's looking at a world title.
Kane Cahill, our leader, a welcome addition on this year's national tour.
Coming all the way from Auckland, New Zealand. It's coming up to the race in America is probably the most prestigious thing to ever come to. I've been over here racing the national tour, which has been great, in Lake Havasu. To be honest, it's what I expected it to be. You know, it's perfect water, perfect conditions. It's great.
Kane Cahill aboard the Riva Yamaha GP 1200 leads this race. One of the nicest guys on the tour. Put a helmet on him though, and he is a racer.
Cahill out in front, Matsouras in second, but they better not look back because on the gas behind them is a great battle in third and fourth. You got McCluggage on the inside right there. Here comes Dustin Farthing in fourth. So McCluggage and Farthing, two of the toughest competitors in the world, are charging up behind the leaders.
The Mac Attack versus King D. Dustin Farthing aboard the Farthing Racing GP 1200R and Chris McCluggage aboard the Kawasaki STX 1100 DI.
This race is 20 laps long. We're in the early stages. Anything can happen. Right now, McCluggage is in third place. He got a second place in Moto number 1. He needs to pass Matsuras, his Kawasaki teammate, to win the World Championship. Farthing with a fourth place in Moto number 1. He's got a chance at a world title as well. They are going for it.
Farthing has to win this race. A lot of the guys are not worried about Cahill out there. Cahill, a 7th in Moto 1. Now he leads this race, so the battle really is for second right now.
These riders are constantly doing math in their head, trying to figure out what they got to do to win a world title. For McCluggage, it's very clear. Beat his Kawasaki teammate.
Current running order show Cahill, Matsuras, and McCluggage the top 3. The fastest personal watercraft race in the world continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track World Championships here at Lake Havasu City, Arizona, presented by Yamaha and Kawasaki. David Stanfield along with Rick Lake, and we are in the midst of a great battle for runabout 1200 Superstock.
Out in front, Kane Cahill, the New Zealand rider, riding the race of his life.
Dustin Matsuras is currently running in second, followed by Chris McCluggage. How about Jimmy Bazio? Jimmy dominated Moto number 1. Right now he's running in 6th, and it looks like he is happy with that position because he's not moving up or back.
And right now, Nicholas Rios, our defending world champion, is going by Dustin Matsuras, but Nicholas is down a few laps. He's had a mechanical problem already in this moto. He's missed a couple buoys, so he's down a few laps way off the pace.
An 18th in Moto 1 and currently running in, it looks like 17th place, 3 laps down, but he is on a mission to unlap himself.
Yeah, he's trying to make up some time. Anything can happen. It's a long race, 20 laps, so Nicholas is a fighter. He's not going to give up.
Quick onboard shot aboard Nicholas Rios' GP 1200R, Rios Racing, and right now he's pulling off course. And we're not sure what's going on for Nicholas Rios, our defending world champion.
And Nicholas has pulled off the course again. What a horrible day for Nicholas. It shows just how difficult it is to win a world title.
With a camera mounted on Rios' boat, we can actually see he misses that buoy. That means he goes down 1 lap. Unfortunately, he has missed 2 buoys, and he's down at least 2 laps. They say 3.
Yeah, we can see him pulling off the course. He'll go back into the pits. Very dejected, but knowing Nicholas, he'll come back stronger, and I certainly wouldn't want to be on the same course with him next race.
Back to our front runners. There's Chris McCluggage, currently running in 3rd position. He is the winningest racer on this year's national tour, taking home 2 titles. And for Chris, it's not all about racing.
Barroom etiquette dictates that it's okay to brag as long as you have the spurs to back it up. If you've been a follower of pro watercross racing for some time, you've probably had countless opportunities to see and hear Chris McCluggage both brag and show his spurs.
Try to use the lappers to my advantage, but if they get in my way, I'm going to have to go over them or something. Went out that time, got a bad start, came from the middle of the pack on my Kawasaki 750 SXI and just pulled every other boat out there. Made them look like stock boats, actually, compared to what I thought. And
that was probably one of your closest battles so far this year in Pro Runabout 1200 with Nicholas. Really exciting race out there.
Yeah, you know, whatever, I won.
Unfortunately, Chris feels that the public perception of him being brash and even a bit outspoken is very incorrect.
I guess I have an attitude sometimes, but, you know, a lot of times is I'm not a person to strike up a conversation. You know, if someone comes up and talks to me, then it's a lot easier for me to talk to people, but I'm usually not the person to go up and start talking to people or, you know, get into the middle of a crowd and be the center of attention, or not really like jump up on stage and, you know, start talking there. I don't like doing that. Or, you know, I couldn't be the person who gets called out of a crowd to dance on the stage, you know, kind of reserved.
It may be a shocking concept to think of the Mac attack as reserved, but his family and close circle of friends swear it is true. This is especially shocking considering he is living a rock star lifestyle at the top of the watercross racing totem pole. Like any rock star will tell you, one of the best things you can do for yourself in this situation is just get away for some personal time.
Wakeboarding, what appeals to me about wakeboarding is just being able to go out there and have a good time. Basically, well, there's a boat pulling you, but it's like you're in control of whatever you want to do out there. So it's, you know, up to you if you want to jump higher. Whatever you want to do, it's in your hands. You know, if you want to try a flip, you can try a flip. But I've been doing it for probably 6 or 7 years now. It's basically something I don't do a lot of anymore, but I used to be involved with it a lot and did a couple competitions. But now it's just whenever I get a chance and, you know, get some friends together and go out for a wakeboard session.
loves his wakeboarding, but he loves his world championship titles more than ever. And he needs to pass Dustin John Matsouras into second position to take the title. Dustin John trying to chase down Kane Cahill.
Cahill out in front the entire race, wire to wire this far on that GP 1200R. Dustin Matsouras looking so good in second place, very smooth. He's got the pressure behind him, and the pressure gets to him as McCluggage goes around, as does Farthing.
Dustin John Matsouras running in second, misses it, but he has to circle back around, and sure enough, McCluggage and Farthing pass him. He drops to fourth. Expect the unexpected at the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championship. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships, presented by Yamaha and Kawasaki. Out of the 36 categories of competition, 7 are pro classes, with top Yamaha pilot Dustin Farthing out of Stuart, Florida, doing the superhuman feat of competing in 3 of those classes: Pro Runabout 1200, Runabout 785, and Pro-Am Sport. The truly amazing part of this grueling task is that he has already nailed down the Pro World title for Runabout 785 and Sport earlier today. In Pro-Am Sport, Dustin prevailed on his Yamaha Wave Blaster over an onslaught of international stars from Thailand, Brazil, Japan, and Guam, winning both motos for the victory.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's won more titles on a sport boat than me, and I'm pretty safe to say that, I'm probably the best sport rider in the world. Proved myself against everybody. I raced, as far as McCluggage, to Andreas, to the best in the world, and, all everywhere around, and I've won, more titles than anybody. On my world championships, always, eluded me and stuff until this year. I always had win one moto and break the next, or have some problems. Won a lot of national championships, but this is my first world title.
In Pro Runabout 785, Dustin and his GP 800 used the same formula of brute force and aggression to also win both motos for the title.
Yeah, there's some good guys in that class, and, I rode good and, put it all together, and that's what counts today. Yamaha's got awesome boat, and we showed them that, Yamaha can win in the 785 class.
Likewise, fellow Yamaha team rider Karim Patrel-Chat from France also swept the Pro-Am Women's Runabout 1200 class with 1-1 moto wins on our Yamaha GP 1200R.
Yeah, I love this boat. It's so nice. My team is great. My 50 Dixie Stampede Yamaha team is awesome. I have great people with me, so I'm really happy.
The French champion waved the American flag in support of the U.S. in challenging times. Congratulations to Karim, Dustin, and the entire Yamaha racing effort.
An estimated 36,000 people over the 8 days of racing have been a part of the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships in a packed house here today at the Crazy Horse Campground here at Lake Havasu City, Arizona, watching Kane Cahill leading the Pro Runabout 1200 Superstock Finals, but it's far from over.
In second place is Chris McCluggage on board the Kawasaki. If McCluggage maintains his position, he will be the Pro Runabout 1200 World Champion. Kane Cahill out in front had a 7th place finish in Moto number 1. That will not be enough to give him the overall title, although this moto will be a great win for Kane. McCluggage, remember though, came into today's event not feeling very well. In fact, he pulled out of the second moto in Pro Ski to save his energy for this race. And these race boats that these top pro riders are riding on are extremely fast, extremely hard to hang on to. In fact, we've seen McCluggage earlier in the season, not feeling well, actually get ejected off the boat during the national tour.
Our leader, Kane Cahill from New Zealand, he's not looking back. There is Chris McCluggage. He's trying to hold on to second. Cahill looking for that white flag. It's coming out, and he's got it one more lap, and he wins moto number 2 of this World Championship. The running order, Cahill, McCluggage, Farthing, and Matsouras.
And the pressure right now all over McCluggage. He's got to keep Farthing behind him. He doesn't want to let anybody by. He doesn't even want to think about Kane Cahill. He knows Cahill is not in the running for the title. The title is his. Stay where he's at. Don't worry about anything. Ride his race like he's done all day long, and he will be the world champion.
We are coming to a close of the Pro Runabout 1200 Superstock World Championship. Moto number 2, Kane Cahill from New Zealand has the lead, but it looks like Chris McCluggage might capture yet another world championship. We're looking for a checkered flag. This is it.
And you got to celebrate Kane Cahill's win, moto number 2, the ride of his life. It's a great moment for Cahill, but McCluggage takes the world championship, and he's got to be extremely pleased. A national title, Dave, and a world title to go with it.
Congratulations to Cahill. Definitely the ride of the decade for him. And for Chris McCluggage, coming in the runner-up spot in Moto 1 and 2, takes the overall world title.
And McCluggage rode his race today. He was in second place. He wasn't worried about Kane Cahill. Kane took the second moto, no problem. McCluggage had second position. That would give him the world championship. He knew it. No worries there. And congratulations to Chris, Joe Heim, Darren Heddle, and the entire Kawasaki team for a great season.
Well, the tough luck guys this weekend, Nicholas Rios, 19th overall in Pro Runabout. And for Dustin Matsouras, one missed buoy, and the World Championship slips out of his hands. But the hero of the day, Chris McCluggage, will be right back to speak with him. Welcome back to the 2001 Scat Track Watercross World Championships, brought to you by Yamaha and Kawasaki. The record books will show that in Moto number 2, Auckland, New Zealand's Kane Cahill rode an incredible race, winning over Chris McCluggage, Dustin Farthing, Dustin Matsouras, and Chris Lawrence. The Pro Runabout 1200 Superstock Championship results has Chris McCluggage with 2-2 moto scores, our overall world champion. He held off Farthing, Matsouras, Bosio, and Cahill. He's standing by with Rick Lake.
Chris, I know the pressure was on Moto number 2. You weren't feeling well. How'd you pull it off?
I don't know. I mean, realistically, to tell you the truth, I mean, I just didn't put on a good charge. I just sat on my Kawasaki STX DI and hoped that I wasn't going to get ejected from it. It thing's so fast, and I want to thank everybody on the team. This one's for Joe Heim. He worked so hard, and somebody told me, actually my trainer told me before I went out, he goes, true champions can pull it out of, when they really need to, and somehow I did it, and I just want to thank the Lord for getting me through this weekend.
The New Zealand rider, Kane Cahill, was out in front of you the whole race. Were you even worried about him?
Not really. I kind of was doing the math in my head. I did graduate high school, so I was able to figure out a couple things. I knew I had to get by Matsouras. That was the only thing, and just tried pressuring him as much as I could without throwing myself off the boat, and he ended up missing the buoy, and Dustin Farthing and myself got by, and I knew Dustin was, Farthing was really a hard charger, so I just he said he was getting really tired. He raced 3 classes, won 2 championships, which is great, but I couldn't let him win that 3rd.
Congratulations, it was a great season.
Thanks, Rick.
Yes, congratulations going out to Chris McCluggage and all our world champions here at Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and a job well done by the sanctioning body, the IJSBA. And remember what we said at the beginning of the show? Expect the unexpected. And it was never more true than at this event. The 2001 Scat Track World Championships did not disappoint. For Rick Lake, I'm David Stanfield. See you next season.